When the PM went to the inauguration of Pope Leo XIV, why was it important in your view to be there? Is it something that, you know, a Prime Minister necessarily has to be at, the inauguration of a new Pope?
Look, I think it was very important that the Prime Minister was there. As you know, he sent me to the funeral a couple of weeks ago. That was obviously a very solemn event. This is a very joyous event for Australia's 5 million Catholics, of which the Prime Minister and myself are both adherents to the Catholic faith. I think it was very important that Australia be represented there and represented at the highest level.
Do you think it's also important in a more secular world that the leadership does show respect to people of faith? Is this something, in simple terms, that people of other faiths will respect?
Well, look, I think that's part of it. But this new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, has come out very strongly on the issue of peace. That's very important for Australia. We've been calling for peace in the Ukraine. We want the Russians to withdraw from the Ukraine. And we also want peace in the Middle East. So I think we're on board with the agenda for this new Pope to start talking about a more peaceful world. That's good for Australia and it's good for the world.
OK, on some other issues, my colleague Andrew Clennell reported yesterday that state MPs and officials won't be hit by the government's super tax on funds upwards of $3 million. Is that viable? You've been around politics a long time. Do you think you can still sell that as a policy when people start to realise that some premiers and officials won't have to pay it?
Well, look, this tax applies to very, very few people. Less than 0.5% of the population are going to be affected. And of course, it only applies to people on very, very high balances. There are some constitutional issues that relate to how superannuation is dealt with by state governments. But rest assured that the people who are going to be making this decision will themselves be covered by this tax if they get to that high level of superannuation.
The $3 million fund, I mean, as you touched on, we did go to the election recently, but do you think people, when the details start to emerge about taxing unrealised gains and so on, that's going to be a bit complex to try and navigate for the government?
Look, I hope not. We nailed our colours to the mast in respect to this tax. We tried to get it through the last Parliament. It wasn't successful. We took it to the last election, so nobody was in any doubt about what our policy was in respect of this tax. And we've received an overwhelming endorsement from the Australian people. So I think in terms of honesty, if we didn't proceed with this, then I think people would say, well, what's going on? You said you were going to do this. We've built, the savings from this new super tax into our future budgets. So I think now we've got the endorsement for the Australian people. It's a very, very minor tax in the scheme of things. And I think the Australian people would now expect us to proceed with it. And
do you think the Treasurer can make it work, just with all of those other complications?
Well, he's a very, very good Treasurer, and I think
there are those that say it's just too complex in terms of tax structures and people's superannuation. You might have an impact on productivity because people will pull out of the workforce before they hit that threshold.
I think people are barking up the wrong tree. I doubt whether the relatively small impact of this tax is going to result in any of those sorts of things. But we've got a very good salesman in Jim Chalmers. And of course, now he's being assisted by Daniel Molino, who's a very good friend of mine. He's got I think it's a Master of Economics from Yale, very smart fellow. And I think that combination will be very successful.
I know you've got to go. Just quickly, what else is on your agenda? You've got that the talks tomorrow with the EU trade.
Yes, and
what
India.
else is at the top of your agenda here?
We were very close to a free trade agreement with India before the election was called. I'm now confident that we'll get another agreement with them. And of course, in a few weeks' time, the United Arab Emirates free trade agreement comes into operation. The United Arab Emirates is like the Woolies warehouse of the Middle East. If you can get your product in there, and all of our products are going into the UAE tariff-free. It's a really good agreement. 93
seats for Labor. You must have said some pretty strong prayers when you were over in the Vatican. They seem like they've worked.
I did. Look, we were the last people, I think, to touch the Pope's coffin before we went out for the Mass, and I did say a little prayer for the Prime Minister and the Labor Party.
Well, it certainly strengthened your faith, I think. Don Farrell, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kieran.
Talk to you soon.